update. I'm not going to cry anymore about it, though that dude is banned. Unless he comes to me crying that he wants to be unbanned. What else? Oh, what's going on in the chess world, guys? Anything new? You're talking to Spinal in the public, yeah. So, Spinal Tap Chess from my home state. What's up, man? What's up? I thought you were like taking time off to study chess. I thought you quit internet chess for serious chess. Spinal Tap, I lost a team game yesterday in the Hungarian Team Championship. Wasn't good. Not happy to lose, you know. And the guy is like not that good, and it was like this young Hungarian. But it's just totally uncreative player with a very, very robotic style, and I just like, you know, I just don't like losing when like the other guy I don't think played one move I didn't see. That's a very strange feeling, you know, to lose a game where honestly you like didn't miss a single move. You basically expect the other guy to play every single move. But time is still my enemy. So guys, send me some challenges. Today we don't have any challenges. It's very strange. Anything like 5-2, 5-3, 8-minute, 10-minute, whatever you want. What I was going to do, guys, is remind you about my video chess training channel on YouTube. And I'm going to have some new videos this week. But we also wanted to talk about something I noticed, the candidates tournament in Moscow, which is coming up soon in March. It's almost March. Guys, it's double round robin. That's awesome, you know. I didn't even like bother to check the first time around. Nowadays, so many tournaments have such stupid formats that you know, I was thinking about it, but that's a really good format. I mean, double round robin with 8 players. That's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's not random, and the results should be pretty legitimate.
New challenge.
The other day, I was talking to someone, and they were like, "What? Kramnik's not 2801." I said Kramnik's 2801.
New
People
challenge.
didn't believe me. You know, this is a chess player like who's not that active. He didn't believe me, but it's true. I mean, Kramnik is 2801. He's not playing in the tournament because his rating gain was so late this last year that it doesn't count toward the qualifiers for the World Championship cycle tournament, but so be it, you know. Carlsen will be world champion again unless Fabiano can win this tournament and take him out. That's basically what I'm saying. The only person in this tournament who can probably beat Carlsen is Fabiano. Okay, guys, here we are, Brosel and Werenfeld. Werenfeld, I'm going to play you first. You're always hurt when I don't accept your challenge, so we're going to play you first. I think you were first, though, in all fairness. Chess Quack. Spinal Tap drew some beardless 2200 player today who's a total noob who won the local Swiss tournament, which was cool. Man, when you say today, it's so strange for me to understand that you're talking about like today, like yesterday. I'm in the future. Here in Europe, we're in the future. Yeah, that happens all the time. I draw with like these beardless 2200 players too. I hate that, you know. Werenfeld, please be 8-3. I like this time control, Werenfeld. Werenfeld played in the simul. I don't remember in particular our game, actually, Werenfeld. It's not... Oh, it was a Sicilian, right? I think I was black and a Sicilian. Yeah, you played a little bit like... a little bit slightly offbeat in the opening, but you had a reasonable position. Okay, and then I think the long diagonal... He left his king on the G1 A7 diagonal on the Sicilian guys. Something bad often happens. Yeah, qualifying should be by more recent lists. Well, yeah, I mean, it's FIDE. It's run by mafiosos, basically. The International Chess Federation makes FIFA look like squeaky clean, I have the feeling. Knight to C3. And, yeah, generally speaking in the Tarish, black plays knight c6 first here. So, we can try to exploit this order of moves. by taking on c5 or something like that. Where were you talking about, Chess Quack? Where did Spinal Tap? He drew with the beardless. Well, the bearded 2200s are much stronger than the beardless 2200s. You guys notice, rating or not, you know, the beard makes you stronger. Bishop e7 here. I can take on c5. It's not a big deal, actually. It reminds me of, maybe it is a big deal, actually. If I take on c5, I guess black could play, like, knight a6 or something. Looking like a, maybe you should castle first and then knight a6. Which starts to look a little bit like some kind of, reminds me of a bishop f4 variation. I just don't really like taking on c5 right away here. I don't know. It's probably good, but FIFA has 1 billion as a reserve. I know, guys, I know. The money issue is a little bit different. These are really low-level criminals in the FIDE. In the FIDE world, they're really penny ante crooks, you know. In FIFA, they're serious. So anyway, tournaments are organized. Yeah, what do you expect? Chess tournaments. It's hard enough to get money in chess. You can't expect it to be like non-corrupt too. Okay, so castles here. Very good tournament in Hungary, guys. If you want to come over here, by the way. In Zalakáros, Hungary, it's the best tournament of the year. If you ever want to play a chess tournament in Hungary, southwest Hungary, kind of near like the Croatian border, I guess. Zalakáros, it's like wine country. There's a really good tournament in the end of May. It's a strong open, and I'd like to play in it. If I can get some time, I might play. I haven't played in a tournament, like an open tournament, in a long time. So knight a6, you're following my suggestion, Werenfeld. Yeah, this looks like probably the only way for white to really try to get the pawn back. But I can take on a6. I mean, I guess that's probably critical, taking on a6 here. And I have a extra passed pawn on c5. I don't know if I can hold on to this. Rule for qualification, Calidus. This is complicated. Highest average of ratings for January 1st, blah, 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 blah. Through December 1st, 2015. I may not be happy with the result, but I don't think that's too early. There has to be certainty. I agree, Calidus. I mean, I'm just crying. It's sour grapes. And that's the way it is, man. It was stated in advance, and it's fair. I'm just sorry because it's like, it's just hopeless, you know. Nobody, I mean, I will eat my shirt on stream live if anybody except for Caruana can beat from that field can beat Carlsen. I mean, yeah, maybe like Aronian, if he got his act together, would have like a small chance, you know. But he lost to Richard Rapport. I mean, how can you beat Carlsen when you can't beat Richard Rapport? In the Bundesliga, guys, Aronian lost to Rapport Richie. And the Hungarians are happy about that, but it was a kind of ugly game. I might do a video on that game. Huge Bundesliga upset. Actually, it was a really important game for the respective teams that Aronian lost to Rapport Richie. Rapport Richie now, the first time in, I don't know, like 20 years or more since Leko is not #1 on the Hungarian list. It's like, it's about time, because Leko, it seems like he's just doesn't even care whatsoever. I mean, he makes Aronian look like really into chess. Let's see if we can't hold on to this extra pawn somehow. Rapport won that game twice. How about Naka? Svidler, are you kidding me? Svidler is a chess commentator like me. I think, you know, he's a better player, but I'm a better commentator, to be honest. We'll call it even. We both have the same chance of winning a World Championship match. That's the cool thing about me and Svidler, is that we both have the exact same chance of beating Magnus Carlsen in a match. Yeah, here. So check out my YouTube channel. I think I'm gonna do the Rapport game. Not a beautiful game, and I think both players made a lot of mistakes, but it was kind of an interesting game. So Rapport is like 27-15, or no, it's got to be even higher than that. A little higher, maybe 27-20. Leiko dropping down to like 27-05 or something. This guy was like almost world champion. It's ever since Leiko got married. I mean, it's really weird. He got married, and this was about like 7 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't know when it was now. And ever since then, he's not been the same. Like literally. Marriage is good for some people, but for Peter Leiko playing chess, I don't think so. Rook c8, b4. It's not like he was the most aggressive player. He already had a tendency to be very like afraid of risk or whatever, but now it's like just ridiculous. So guys, Naka, I like Naka, and he's a fighter, but he's not stable enough to beat Carlsen. He would definitely like win a game or two. I mean, could win a game or two, but for every like game or two he wins, Carlsen would probably win like 2 or 3. I'm sure it would be great for chess though, and I said this earlier. I wouldn't be unhappy if Naka wins the candidates tournament, because it would be really exciting, but I prefer it to be Caruana, because he has a real chance to... I think he has a pretty good chance to take... If anybody has a chance, it's him, basically. Kummer might have a chance versus Carlsen. Kummer. So, we're just bummed about Kramnik. I want to see Kramnik play another match. I want him to do what he did against Kasparov. Like, just draw Carlsen to death. So we hung on to our pawn, Werenfeld. I feel kind of guilty because I told Werenfeld about knight a6. I'm not, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it was like a way to play the position. But generally, Werenfeld, keep in mind, when you play the Tarrasch, which you play, you should play the knight to c6 first, rather than knight f6. Spinal Tap Chess. Kitty, kitty, hiss, hiss. What about King Crusher? Is he playing in the candidates? Yeah, King Crusher's playing in the candidates. What's the other guy who's playing in the candidates? Wait a minute. Chess Network. I think he's playing in the candidates too. Knight e4. Bishop takes e7. So we're up a pawn here. We've got a very bad bishop on b7. And I love dissing the other chess streamers. Well, video players. I'm new to this, guys. I've only been doing this for like a month, and we're gonna get better and better. Basically, I think it's good for my game too. Yesterday I played an interesting game. I lost against Kantor Gergely, who's this guy is like one of the top 3 Hungarian players under 18. But he's really got a very boring style, and I'm kind of bummed that I lost, because just not a really creative player. Basically, he beat me. I didn't, like, I saw everything coming, and I still managed to lose. I made a terrible mistake in the opening. Based on opening preparation from 20 years ago, I played the wrong move on move 4. I was supposed to play my move 4 on move 5, so I inverted the position by 1 move, and had a dubious position, but he made mistakes. I was equal. Then I lost it again. So it's like Aroni and Rapport. You can lose the same game more than once. Anyway, I'm just talking. We talked about the candidates. We talked about my new simultime. What else? Have you beat King Crusher? God, man, I don't know, but it's really not important. I think I would be. I think the Vegas bookies would have me as a favorite, but I'm not sure. I think it's a safe assumption. DST. I managed to get 3 out of 6 for the rapid. I managed to draw against an IM rated 2286. I copied his first 8 moves. DST good, man. Where are you playing again? Where was the tournament? Queen F6. This is an awfully pretty position for white. I want to get the knight to d4. Does he have any tricks like d4? That would be the only thing I'm concerned about here. If rook d2 or rook d3, I don't know. Maybe we'll play rook d3. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference. d4. I don't really believe in. I mean, I can play pawn takes d4, knight takes d4, rook takes d4. Rook takes d4 is probably having some tricks with rook takes d4, bishop takes f3, rook takes d7, queen g6. But trading queens, and we're basically golden. New Zealand. I've only stopped over in New Zealand. I've never played chess there. Been to Melbourne. I played in Melbourne, the Australian Masters once, many years ago. And that was my first chess commentary, in a sense. I did a radio show, a chess radio show, when I was in Melbourne. There was this guy who had his own like chess radio show. It was pretty cool. In a live, in a real studio. That's a good result, though. Oh, you know the guy's name, Paul Garbett. Yeah, I've heard of this guy. He's a known New Zealand player. Obviously, I've never played him, as far as I know. Maybe online. But guys, I want to thank you guys for helping me to play better, because yesterday is like my first real tournament game since I started streaming, and although I lost, I felt that my game was good. I came up with a really kind of good plan and an active plan, and my thinking was clear. I'm still a little slow, though. I feel that I need to play a bit faster. At some point, I felt rushed. It was the standard FIDE time control, 40 moves in 2 hours. No, 90 minutes. Sorry, 40 moves, 90 minutes. And what do we do here? Just e4, right? 40 moves in 90 minutes, and then sudden death in 30 with a 30-second increment. But I felt rushed. I couldn't really have time to find the best moves. Why is King Crush so popular? I don't know, dude. It's just because he's been making videos on YouTube for a long time. Like 7 or 8 years, I guess. That's a long time to develop a following. All the time I was playing poker, this guy was making YouTube videos. So, it definitely
check.
Is a lot of time to build up a following. So
check.
Rook e4 check. But I don't have anything against King Crusher, and I definitely played him at least once and lost on ICC. I think he might have made a video. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I don't really like making videos of 5-minute games, to be honest. I think it's a little silly. Standard games, I like 15-minute games, but there's a lot of YouTubers who are making chess videos out of their 5-minute games, and I think it's a little bit silly. I mean, 5 minutes is really not a serious game. I mean, 15 minutes is barely a serious game, and
check.
I wouldn't go any faster than that, basically. Okay.
Check.
If there's some increment, it's a different story. Rook takes d7, check, and
check.
mate.
Victory.
Okay, Werenfeld, thanks for the game, guys. Feel free to challenge me. Usually I have a kind of long challenge list. Got no challenges. Maybe it's Monday, and John Bartholomew developed pretty
New
fast.
challenge.
Yeah, I like John Bartholomew. I mean, he's a pretty strong player, and I think he's higher rated than me. And I don't really know him that well, but he's a really legitimate player, and I would imagine that his chess stream is probably good, or his videos and whatever. There's a big difference between an international master and a FIDE master, honestly. A huge difference. I mean, just as there's a big difference between a grandmaster and an IM. Okay, DST, let's play. You were just talking about your tournament.
Ready.
Let's get a warm-up game for your next tournament. 5-minute, 2-second increment. You know, guys, I was playing here like a lot of blitz, just sometimes off stream, and I realized that I like the 3 minutes with 2-second increment the best. And lo and behold, I didn't even realize that's like the official FIDE blitz time control. I just really like, I experimented with a whole bunch of different time controls. And I like it. I mean, it seems like the 3 minutes with 2-second increment is the best for me, actually. It's not too slow, and you've got the increments so you don't flag. You should have a streamer showdown with John Bartholomew. Yeah, we've never played. Basically, Bartholomew became strong just about the time that I left the United States. But I recall like going back in like 2006, I think he was playing adjacent from me. We had about the same rating at that time. Talking about this the other day, one of the players here was very opinionated that this offers white no advantage. I tried to explain to him that no opening offers white an advantage, but I don't think he was buying that. Anyway, Bartholomew, I found him interesting because he plays the Scandinavian, and that's cool. I mean, you know, it's already, you can see it's kind of like, you get my respect if you're kind of creative, you know. I appreciate that someone would, you know, play an opening like that on a regular basis. So bishop e4, queen c2. Now the guy, I don't remember who it was here, was talking about this line. Bishop takes c3, queen takes c... No. Wait a minute. It's bishop takes c3, queen takes c3, d5. That's it. And I know this line, like... And then you take and take with the queen at d5, I guess. It's possible it equalizes for black. But I mean, you know, I still think this line packs a lot of punch for white on a practical level. Have you seen Shok short film? No. What is it? Excuse me for my ignorance. It's a chess film, obviously. Just add the differences between the GM, FM, and IM, and GM, and then you have it. But, you know, and then you can divide it into subcategories. There are people who have titles that are really weak. I mean, I know grandmasters who shouldn't be grandmasters. And I know international masters who probably shouldn't be international masters. So, you know, I mean, there's a case-by-case basis for everything. There are people who paid for their titles, who, like, bought games and stuff. You know, it is what it is. I mean, it's not a perfect system. Okay, so bishop c5. Interesting position. Rook e8 is the main line, and queen f5. So I'm gonna cheat and open my... I showed you guys this before. Dynamic chess strategy. Mihai Suba, like, this is his favorite variation. But I didn't actually analyze this too much. Bishop c5 doesn't seem right in this position. But I rarely play this line, so I don't know it. The refutation offhand. I'm just kind of winging it here. And if knight g5, g6 looks fine for black, I can play knight takes e5. Knight takes e5, knight takes e5, d4. It doesn't really look dangerous. I feel like I'm missing something here. And black has knight b4 in some positions. I really feel like I'm missing something here. I need to play fast. Knight g6, knight g5, g6. I don't see anything for white special there. Bishop c5. Maybe it's a move that I don't know. a3. I can simply play a3. Having played high-level correspondence freestyle events, every major line should lead to equality somehow. I agree, Chess Quack. I mean, it's all about practicality and finding kind of hidden ideas. You know, I don't really think that... I think we've reached the point where we've realized that, you know, chess openings probably, you know, don't lead to an advantage. Where we should have. This is possibly a pawn sack for black, but I don't believe that black has anywhere near enough compensation here. He needs to make a developing move. I was close to winning an Oscar Kosovo production. It's your film you're talking about, Liberian. So again, guys, yeah, I mean it's all about like being practical in today's chess competitions, and you know, no opening is gonna like lead to a forced advantage against a really qualified opponent. I think bishop f5 is gonna be a little bit annoying. Bishop g4 could be annoying as well. Bishop d3 is pretty anti-positional here. D4, queen d4, bishop f5, queen f4, with the idea of maybe trying to trade queens with like queen g5, or just trade pieces with g4. If I do like d4, bishop f5, queen b4, I'm gonna run out of time if I keep chattering. But what else can we do here? Bishop d3. Kind of artificial. b4 hangs a rook. Alright, we'll try this. It's blitz, I've got to move fast. Okay, DST, no more chattering. If bishop f5, I have queen f4. I've got to watch out for knight a5 here, because there's a weakness at b3. That's the one thing that kind of bugged me when I was looking at this position. Yeah, I guess I have like bishop e6, queen bishop f5, queen f4, bishop b6, g4, if nothing else. And there's no piece sacrifices for black here. So welcome to the channel, guys. My name is International Master William Pascal. First name International, second name no. I like it when they make jokes about that, but
check.
It's a title. It's wow. Bishop b4 check. What do I do? Scary. Yeah, it's a nice try, DST, but you know what? I have this massive, massive pawn wall that my king is just totally comfy here. Totally comfy on d2 here. Do your worst. I'm not afraid. It's like the French sometimes. You have the big pawn wall. You can just walk the king to d7. French defense, Gurgenidze Caro-Kann type of positions. The king is safe. It's not my film, but I made a great impression in the world, telling a story of two friends during... Oh, it made a great impression. I'll check it out. That sounds awesome. Is it relatively new, Liberian, or has it been around a long time? Here, rook a5 is one move I'd really like to get developed. Rook a3 is another idea, kind of defensive idea. You're threatening rook e4. Okay, then. Yeah, nasty little threats, and you're gonna like win on time, so I've gotta be timely myself. Bishop there, g4. This was the original plan, anyway. Gotta be fast here. Trading queens would totally end it. He has bishop e4. That's not a big deal, I hope. I love when I say stuff and I'm like, man, I hope that what I'm saying is right. It sounds right. Maybe it sounds like I know what I'm doing, but I feel like I know what I'm doing. My practical play isn't what it should be, though. Like yesterday, I'm a better teacher than I am a player. It's for sure, because I had a great plan. I sacrificed a pawn. I had compensation, but somehow I just went wrong. But I felt that like my conception was good and my execution was bad. That's what that's the way I should say it. Good conception, but a bad execution. G4. yesterday I had an isolated queen pawn position, and I was black. And basically, I just didn't want to defend passively, so I just sacked the pawn, like straight up. Sacked it outright. And this is like advice I've given here on the stream. If you have an isolated queen pawn, you know, the last thing you want to do, or any kind of weak pawn, like a backward pawn in the King's Indian on d6, what have you, basically,
Time is running out.
what you want to do is defend actively. Even if you give the pawn up, it's better to give up the pawn than to let yourself get tied down in a passive position. I'm learning French defense. All right, I gotta move here. This guy's gonna flag me. We are up a piece in this position. Okay, knight b4. DST. You're out of luck today. We have increment. I mean, that's the key with the increment, guys, is that you can't do the you know, you can't do the oligos where you just play to win on time and nothing else, basically. It's like you've got to make chess moves. Dead air. Dead air is not good on any chess stream, but I'm down to like 18 seconds. I'm a little bit. I want to end this one. Guys, feel free to challenge me. Shah and Shah, rated 2076. One of our regulars here. Fluorescent green guy was like, I'm learning French defense. Seems very strong with pawn to push. Very good opening. Do I need to learn deeply with variation? Don't worry about the English, man. Nobody was born knowing any languages.
Ready.
Shah and Shah. Good luck. So, French defense is a good fundamental opening. I have a student who plays the French defense. He's kind of new to it and relative amateur. And here's my thing about the French defense. It is a relatively fundamental kind of opening, so you can kind of find good moves on your own over the board without memorizing a lot of theory if you have a good fundamental sense of the game. Whereas other openings, like riskier openings, you might have a hard time, you know. So the French defense, yeah, you can get away with it. I would recommend, this is a critical line Shah and Shah's playing against me, by the way, guys. I would recommend learning as much theory as you could. There are ways to avoid theory. You can play like simplified variations. For example, like e4, e6, d4, d5, and then take on e4. That's one good way to kind of avoid main lines. By the way, Shanshad, you want to try something interesting. That seems to be, I mean, I'm kind of late getting into the loop here, but you can try there 4f5. It looks like this is the move that a lot of people have realized is actually better than knight f6. Knight f6, this variation has been played quite a lot in the last 10 years, but you know, interesting thing about f5, it looks weird, but Grandmaster Zoltan Medved played that against me like 12, well, not that long ago. It was like 8 years ago. And I was like, I can't find a good move for white, you know? And then I just like let it go, and I never really thought about it. It was a draw. And then the other day, like 2 weeks ago, a bunch of people started playing it against me again. Strong players, like I beat a GM on ICC, a Turkish guy, Emre Khan. A whole bunch of players started playing f5, and this had to have been published somewhere. Or strong players must have started playing it. But then I looked at it with the computer engine, and when you look at this line, this symmetrical English with c5 and e5 and f5, it turns out that like f5 almost equalizes for black, and it's so strange that such a strange move would be better than the more natural knight f6. That might be the case. It might actually be better than knight f6. So this feels like we're transposing to some kind of like Looks like we're transposing some kind of Tarash or something. Black has to be careful along the line that he doesn't have like backwardness and weaknesses. It's also similar to a four knights English with d4, with the added fact that the e pawn and the c pawn are taken off the board. Can't do the Olegas, and I'd love to play Olegas with 5-2 time control. You know, I think I could probably like. Well, I know I would probably like be a favorite against him if there was a 5-2 increment. Bishop b4. Okay, yeah. There's no time for like bishop g5 here. I'll have to look this up, Sean Shah. d4, e4, e4, cd4. I know that cd4 is kind of under a cloud since Aronian improved against Caruana like a year ago, 2 years ago, whenever that was played. Bishop e4. I have to develop quickly. So I guess the standard recipe of bishop e2. I guess when it comes down to it, the bishop on b4 might end up being like kind of suspiciously placed. Anyway, there's a lot of analysis here for a 5-minute game, 3-second increment. Guys, check it out. At least I'm not Olegas. Yeah, man. You are not Olegas. Olegas is like the enemy of everything I respect in chess, like etiquette, creativity, out the window, you know. The object is to not be creative and be robotic and then have no etiquette at all. Have no like sportsmanship. Two things I respect probably the most in chess is like creativity and sportsmanship. And people like that just throw it out the window. I mean, anyway, so bishop e2, we're going to castle quick and maybe try to draw some kind of advantage in this position from the fact that it's a Nimzo-Indian sort of setup, but black has a lot of dark square weaknesses and this diagonal. I mean, it doesn't seem like a big deal right now, but later on, if I have a dark square bishop, an unopposed dark square bishop, it could be something for me. Shah and Shah, we're playing rated. Wow, trying to take my rating points, sneak one in there against me. Almost everybody's challenging me to casual games. It's not forced, but I'm just like slowly becoming kind of like used to it. So rook e8, that looks like a solid choice. Bishop g5, like, kind of might drop a piece. Kind of might. Kind of might drop a piece. Bishop e3 is possible, looks kind of passive for white. Bishop f3 walks into knight e5. Although I guess it's playable. I could play bishop f3, for example. I don't like rook e1 per se. Knight b5 doesn't. No, knight b5. Knight b5 is kind of interesting, actually. Knight b5. Why not knight b5? It's like non-developmental. Actually, I'm afraid of knight b5, a6, knight e6, rook e6. You get some development there. I'd like to make a developing move. Anybody? Developing move? Don't really see a good developing move. Fapateric, can you make a sound more louder? David Pruis wins the Creativity and Sportsman Prize. Don't know David that well. He seemed a little bit wishy-washy to me. Didn't make a big impression on me one way or the other. Okay, knight on d to b5, but I think he's like your generation, right? Spinal Tap chess? Guessing he's in the same age range as you. Knight d6. This is your first game on Lee Chess? Yeah, this is kind of the variation I expected. Grabbing the bishop pair, but it helps black develop a little bit here. So I have this interesting move now, knight d5, which just works tactically. So the sound more louder? You guys need to sound louder. I didn't have anybody else. Nobody else was asking about sound, so I'm not really sure about the sound issue. I'm trying to move. It's not even my turn. I did that already. It's like when I was in England, I told the story about how I tried to move twice. You guys see I'm trying to move twice. I swear to God, I thought he just played a6. I was like, oh, a6. Okay. I'm trying to move twice. Sound is good here. That's Catweb99. Oh no, Fopateric. Okay. Sean Shaw, are you with us? Feel free to lose on time if you want, but I'd prefer to beat you on the board. Bishop c5, okay. And now you have some knight d4 type of stuff. But if I can smash the pawns, let's see, bishop takes f6, keep the strong knight, double the pawns. Bishop d3 is also fine for white here, but it would give him, might give him time to fix his pawns. So we're going to go this and attack the white squares on the king's side. Oh, I just hung a piece? Whew. Just hung a piece. Talking too much. The sound is low there. I don't know why your sound would be low. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Time for a swindle. Yeah, time to swindle this one. A strong knight. He has a bad king position. Good move there. But we have chances now. Yeah, here looks like we have chances to get our piece back. Sometimes you just have to make your own luck, guys. Don't really know what I should do now. That's not really a good move. Let's play this. Sean Shaw hanging on there. I'm lucky I didn't lose a piece, honestly. And having said that, I'm gonna make a square for my king, I guess. This is really messy, guys. Not a good game. Sean Shaw, if it wasn't a rated game, I would snap the draw for here. But I've got to protect my rating. I'm playing for a win. You're on my pawn there. Let's not give away any other stuff. And you're on that too. I think we have good comp though for the pawn. Very good compensation.
Check.
We have compensation for our own pawn now. But still not easy. This structure is kind of messy. Wow.
Check. Check. Check.
Okay, I should be winning here. I only say that, I mean, it's not necessarily a win, but it's It's a pawn up with a better structure, and his king is cut off. So it does look kind of tough for black. Yeah.
Check.
There, I think maybe I had a better move. But Shah and Shah hanging tough. This could be drawn.
Check.
Looks pretty tough.
Check.
Shah and Shah doesn't want to give up.
Check. Check. Check.
Hope I don't get mated. Hope I don't get mated here. Really close game, guys. This looks like a win now for me. It's like seen Alexander Ivanov win this position before. The rook is like cutting him off.
Check. Check. Check.
The extra pawn makes a lot of difference. It's might even be a draw if I don't have the extra pawn there. But 62 moves. We're not playing a lot of 62 move games here. GG.
Victory.
All right, guys. It can always be wrong. Everything at 5 a.m. Can you check Queen takes E2 after the game if it's better than King H1? Are you serious? Oh, I can just play Queen takes E2. His queen's hanging. I knew there was something weird. But I was so surprised when I just let him take with check on E2 that I forgot I had his queen was under attack. So queen takes E2. What are we doing here? Let's see. Okay, this opening is interesting. I was showing you guys. Let's just take a moment to look at this. F5 here is kind of the new trend, and I think it's very possibly stronger than the standard knight F6. Anyway, so CD was the main line forever, but he played ED, and then CD, and I guess this is kind of a line that can be reached by other move orders. Knight takes D4, Bishop B4, Bishop B2's got to be right. Castle's got to be right. Rook E8 looks like a good move to me. And then Knight B5. This was a tough position, I'm not sure, but anyway, I played Knight B5. Okay, A6 here, there. He has good development for the sacrificed, structure and bishop pair. And now I played Knight D5, and he played Bishop C5. Maybe Bishop B7 there. I don't know. bishop g5, knight d4, and now I just like totally spaced. I should play bishop d3. Obviously, this was what I was gonna play. It's strong, and white is better, but he has bishop e7. He has bishop e7. It's kind of weird, but I can play knight takes e7. Yeah, bishop e7, knight takes e7, followed by bishop takes h7 check, and queen takes d4. So I guess this is good for me. So I just hallucinated here, and Big Vash was like, yeah, queen takes e2. Of course, I have to play queen takes e2. I just freaked out. Queen takes e2, rook takes e2, bishop takes d8. He has to take. And that position, he's got a very active bishop on c5, a very active rook on e2. Material is equal. Structurally a tiny bit better for white. Strong knight on d5. It's a very strong bishop, but I might be able to play b4 at some point. The knight on d5 is really strong, so I had the feeling that it's probably about equal, because his rook is so active on the 7th there. I think that kind of I would say it's like about equal. Yeah, it's kind of like a reverse Grand Prix attack chess quack, but a little different because, you know, it's a pawn on c5. It's basically, if you guys know the Flor Mykonos variation of the English, it's like a Flor Mykonos with f4 in for white. So, which is a move that you usually can't play. It's kind of anti-positional, but white's setup isn't that aggressive with e3. So you can get away with. Anyway, here Big Vash, I think it's about equal. Looks like dynamic equality. NM Unicorns. You challenged me to 3-2. Unicorns, if you're watching the stream, just challenge me to like 5 minute with a 2-second increment. I don't play 3 minute on the stream. So anyway, guys, where are the challenges? Just Unicorns? Wants to beat down on me. He's a national master. But guys, no 3 minute. That's my only request of any sort. Even with increment, I don't have time to talk. I mean, we don't have time to discuss the games. So if I don't get a game from one of you guys, I'll go to the pool, drag someone out here of the rant. I could create a game. I never do this, but that's possible too. Here's Neonios, 5-4. That would be fine. But he seems to have disappeared. You guys have any chess questions? Feel free to ask me. Chess Quack, your unicorns. Oh, okay. 5-2.
New challenge.
Unicorns. 7-2 is even more. 7-2 is fine too.
Ready.
Okay, NM Unicorns. Classical rated. I'm just gonna comment like things that aren't true, basically. Since this is a rated game, I want to lead you down the wrong path. Don't know anything about you, Unicorns, so I'm usually more adaptive kind of player, and I play best when I know somebody. I can kind of take different forms. So against just cold, don't know what I'm doing against this guy. Knight c6, plays open Sicilian, and we're gonna play. I've been playing. I want to work on my accelerated dragon, guys. This is one of my resurrection projects. Was playing more like classical. Was playing more classical Sicilian, for lack of a better name. I don't know what to call that. But lately, I've been deciding to work on my accelerated dragon. Probably gonna make some videos for video chess training about my accelerated dragon researches. So stay tuned for that. That's my YouTube channel. The Saddest Troll. Yeah, we don't get that many masters, so it's kind of cool. This is classical, like Marazzi bind. For some reason, your Lee Chess homepage initially showed Shansha as your first and only game. That's weird. Castles. So instead of castles, knight c2 is a really aggressive move for white, trying to keep the pieces on the board. And I don't know, for some reason, I had this weird feeling I'm down a tempo or something, but I'm not. Yeah. But I guess generally speaking, I play bishop d7 first, most often in those positions. Then knight c2 would just transposed. Do I even English? Bishop d7. And I'm unicorns from the United States. It's good to play you, man. So king h1. This is interesting. King h1 is some kind of like very aggressive plan. It looks like to avoid exchanges of pieces. Maybe play f4. Avoid exchanges on the a7 g1 diagonal, I guess. And I've seen similar positions before against Lajos Šeriš a long time ago, Hungarian Grandmaster. But I have the feeling that was maybe in this line. So I'm not going to give him any moves. He's already a master. I'm not going to give him any hints, but I think I understand White's best play is in this position. I think you're supposed to get that down a tempo feeling in any open Sicilian. Yeah, guys, I was joking about this the other day that all the chess engines, like according to any like modern chess engine, you're down like 6/10 of a pawn when you play the Sicilian already. Then in that case, you know, I mean, my game yesterday where I was down a half pawn the whole game was like totally normal, right? You're supposed to suffer if you don't play e4, e5, and the Berlin defense, I guess. But there's a lot of truth in it, you know. Bishop d3. Yeah, so in the past I played some bad games in this kind of position, like knight d7 too early. White gets some attacking chances. I think knight d7 is probably playable, but he wants to keep pieces on the board and try to attack me on the king side, I guess. Though if he would trade the bishop on g7 and play f4 if I play knight d7, probably. So I'm wondering about something else for me here. Though it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm probably going to play knight d7 at some point. Unless I have a tactic. a5 is a good move. I need to stop b4 in these kind of positions. He would like strategically kind of overrun me. But you know, the standard plan where white plays like f3 and rook b1 and stuff is like knight d7, knight c5, queen b6. But it's not really that effective against, I think, like every setup that white can use. So normally speaking, in those lines when white queen, you know, rook b1, queen d2, rook fc1, this very positional setup, normally speaking you don't play a4. But my feeling here is that it's a little different. Maybe we will do like a4 and try to get some extra space. Try to get there's a very old game from a New York Open, and a good friend of mine played. It was like, I still remember this game. It was maybe the New York Open where I had a drug-related hallucination and tried to make a move on someone else's board, but I told that story already. It was like Nauro's Nerve versus Vigorito. I think this was the game. It might even be in the it should be in the database. Like New York Open, 1992-ish, something like that. And Dave might have lost, but the opening was fine for black. I think he played like a5, a4, queen a5, something along those lines. Try to get real active, get your pieces out actively. The other thing is that f4, I can do e5 here. So he doesn't really have f4. I mean, f4, e5 probably equalizes, like, right away. So I don't have to rush it with, like, knight d7. b3 is okay for white. Similar to other lines. And here, I think it's a good move, because I was going to play a4 anyway. He's probably listening to the stream. So knight d7 is kind of the standard move. And then he has a little bit of a kingside attack, maybe. But I don't think it's anything too devastating. This is a kind of standard position. The American Grandmaster Eugene Perelstein plays this a lot for black. This kind of position. We got it from Gingy. Basically, Perelstein and I were both studying with Roman around the same time. Perelstein didn't used to play the Accelerated Dragon. His dad is a trainer. He played the Caro-Kann, like classical Caro-Kann, actually before he started working with Gingiashvili. So anyway, f4. I need maybe my queen coming into position at some point on the dark squares. Queen f6, queen b6. And I have rook h8 if white tries anything on the h file. White has to be careful about endgames where he could potentially like drift into a worse position with bad bishop versus good knight. Knight d5, bishop takes d5, e takes d5. Visually looks okay for white, but there's some chance he kind of drifts into an ending where his bishop is just kind of a bad piece. Not always the case, but sometimes. So here it looks like the black queen is really active. This is like... Problem is knight e2 now. Actually. Knight e2 is a problem. Maybe I'll play king g8. But then that would stop me from playing rook h8. Okay, I need to think about this. He stopped a4 with the move rook b1. I don't really want him to transfer his knight to the king side with tempo, like queen d4, knight e2. Having said that, it's not like it's a monster piece on e2 or anything. I could play queen c5 and queen c5, queen d4, queen c5. I can also play moves like e6, though it's kind of weakening. I prefer not to commit myself. Let's see what we can find here. Something interesting. Maybe queen f6, queen d4, queen f6 is interesting. It looks a little bit convoluted, though. King g8. You could play king g8. Let's play king g8. We've got to find a plan and kind of stick to it. The fianchettoed queen is a line. It's a good defender. I want to get my knight on c5, but I want to get my queen in the game before I close it in with knight c5, basically. Chessable is not for beginners. Play longer games. I started playing chess about 2 weeks ago. Wow. Any tips on what to improve? I think the second person who asked that. Playing and studying. You have to like use the two to complement each other. So download some free PDFs about, of chess books. Get some books from Amazon or whatever bookstore is available to you, and basically complement that with playing here online or live if you can. There's like a chess club you can play at, something like that. So queen g7 is a kind of key idea. I think keep my queen where it controls the dark squares but also influences the position. This position looks about equal. It reminds me a little of a Grand Prix attack for white with a knight on e2. It's not b6, interesting. If I play knight c5, actually knight c5 is good. No reason not to play knight c5, I guess, in this position. Every time you guys make a pawn move, you're kind of weakening your position. It's an important concept to remember. But So the reason I'm saying this is like thinking about being black here. What do I want to do? I could block it up completely with e5. It's not a bad idea, actually. Kind of interesting. Interesting. e5. You're so used to playing Accelerated Dragon and having this bishop on g7 that it's like a sin to play e5 in the dragon. But here it's not, because I have I could even take on f5, but I think it's a tiny bit anti-positional. So we'll play f6. Here I don't have a bad bishop, so it's no problem to play f6. It's like a closed Sicilian type of structure for black. Not the greatest, spatially on the king side, but you know, you can't have everything. It's about equal, but not a really boring equal. I mean, this is an imbalanced kind of equal chances, I would say. Unfortunately, with f5, he stops me from maneuvering my knight to. Okay, now this could get interesting. He plays knight c3 now, and I wonder, should consider taking on f5, trying to use the g file. He's got knight coming to d5. Probably not a big deal. Play a solid move here. Which rook? Should close the king side, maybe with g5. I'm gonna close the king side. I don't like this. I don't like this situation right here. Close the king side. Try to like move the action back to the queen side. And c7. Not really sure what's going on here. b5? Can I break free with b5 here? Unicorns is using his time, using his increment well, I think. Basically, playing very very sensibly. Maybe queen b4 for me. I want to stay active. Try to work on the dark squares. This is a fantastic defensive maneuver by Unicorns to get in that bishop c4. We have just enough counterplay, I would say, to keep this game. Now rook c4, rook b8, rook b8 maybe. Open file. Want to use the open file. Speaking of Oligos, we have had some similar games to this one. This looks like a game I might have played against Oligos, to be perfectly honest. Totally Oligos style. He doesn't lose. Yeah, queen h3 check.
Victory.
Yeah, it's tough. Unicorns was fine, but practically speaking, it's not easy to play these kind of positions with a fast time control. The Marazzi, like, you claim a lot of space, and you know, it takes a lot of thinking, a lot of time to control that space, keep that space under control, and finally, this kind of thing happens a lot if white doesn't have enough time to solve his problems. The strong knight creates a lot of threats, and but basically it was pretty equal until the end. Okay, guys, welcome to the stream. The things they do are awfully cold, bro. What are you guys talking about? Anyway, I hate my life. Casual 5-2. We're gonna play him provisionally.
Ready.
Like 21-25. Wow. Bullet rating very strong. He's from a non-country. E4 C5. I hate my life. That's a positive thing, huh? Classical rating 15 games. Blitz 21-25. So it's a strong bullet player who hates his life. Okay. If I just played bullet, I would hate my life too. You gotta play more classical chess. Knight C6. You guys, welcome to the stream. I'm Bill Pascal. We have a YouTube channel where we just started a month ago, but we're doing 2 or 3 videos a week. Hopefully more someday down the line. And video chess training, it's called, on YouTube, so check it out. Subscribe and like. The more supporters I get, the more videos I can make. And I could get to the point where we're making one every day, hopefully. Knight takes d4, and we could play another accelerated dragon. Let's have an accelerated dragon theme today. Queen g7 maneuver. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten mated before in those kind of lines, so that's not like something I invented. I just see things and borrow them and apply them to my games. G6. Well, we got plenty of time, guys. Like 50 minutes left. Kind of hard for me. I'm kind of tired after yesterday. I had a tournament game for like 5 hours in the morning. Then the simul here and a simul on the Internet Chess Club. Knight takes c6, b takes c6. Yeah, this is not considered really a good line for white. Queen d4, knight f6, e5. Knight d5 is better for black. That's kind of the main line there. Knight f6, not really a line though. I don't recommend it for white. Thanks, Prototier. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna put up probably Rapport Aronian game, not today but tomorrow. I thought that was an interesting struggle and really important. I mean, Rapport, the new wave of Hungarian hope in chess. So now e5 is kind of a positional threat. Maybe not though. I mean, if white plays e5, is it gonna be able to, yeah, he can support it actually. I have to watch out for that. I mean, and the problem is that he's got bishop on c6, so I can't do like d6 without having to play knight d5. Hate My Life has got this really weird... It's got the really weird setup going on here. We can play d5. We could play queen c7. I guess queen c7 is kind of the default move. Don't see anything wrong with it per se. Chess Quack says, I'm more familiar with the plans with f3. Yeah, I mean, the plans with f3 are standard, yeah. A million games. So, if white plays e5 here, I guess we're going to let him. If I play d6 now, we could also do that. Play it like a... It looks like d6, e5, pawn takes pawn, rook takes e5. What is this? Like, who would invent such a thing for white? Seriously. But rook takes e5 there, I have knight g4. Anybody? Maybe knight g4 wins for me. Yeah. Looks pretty strong. And if white can't play e5, he's going to have problems here. Not like huge problems, but positional problems. About bishop on f3 is not well placed. So hopefully we have enough tactical tricks to stop him from freeing his position. And if that's the case, then I'm happy with my game. We like to just prevent him from playing e5, keep his bishop bad on f3, and then slowly improve our pieces. And guys, chess is like 50% pawn structure, so yeah, 50% pawn structure. Look at the structure. So the dragon structure here. I was joking, like the other day a week ago I had a pawn not on a7 but on like b5. We were joking it was a cat. If my a pawn was connected, I'd have a cat, but this is more like a dragon. Yeah, e5 now starting to look like kind of a disturbance, so we can stop that. White has all this energy like pent up behind this pawn on e4. You know? Pent up energy. And it can't break free, basically. So this move also stops b3, which I thought would have been a good plan for him. Maybe last move to try b3, bishop b2. Normally in the Sicilian b3, bishop b2 is not a great plan, but in combination with this structure where my pawn is on c6 instead of on b7, I think that b3 and bishop b2 becomes kind of a valid idea because I don't have counterplay along the c file, and b3 stops my counterplay along the b file like I have here. Chess Quack. You played me before on ICC. I've been playing on ICC for a long time. New to Lee Chess. We've been playing on Lee Chess for basically like a month and a half now, but I like it. I'm just still getting used to using this like kind of browser-based chess because I never played browser-based chess. I never really played on chess.com. And other sites that use browser-based chess, but I like Lee Chess. I think it's a big improvement over some other sites. So really easy to use, really clean. I like the interface. Big thumbs up there. So I guess we're going to take this pawn. And we can play with the Jolly Joker. My good friend ML Solancy calls the Unleashed Dragon Bishop the Jolly Joker. We could sack an exchange and have compensation, but I don't really want to go that far. I mean, I don't think I have quite enough justification to sack the exchange here. We're just trading to win a pawn, basically, and break his structure. My friend Emil wouldn't take on e1, probably. I mean, there's some justification to that exchange sack. I think it's somewhat valid, but it's really unnecessary. Black has enough here with the sound structure and what have you. Speaking of the last game, I have to watch the dark squares a little bit here. So knight e6 at some point. Looks like white's preparing d5 again. Bishop, that would be a blunder. I lose a pawn if I play e5. Hate my life, would love that. f6, man. I lose a piece if I play f6. Alright, it's queen d2. Yeah, queen a5. Queen a5. I gotta be like heads up here. This guy is a bullet player. Queen a5 is a really nasty move. I don't know why I didn't play this move like instantaneously. Forces white to make some kind of passive move. We have material to shed. I'm not materialistic, and basically here I'm not trying to cling to my material.
Check.
Thought he should have played queen d2 around there at some point. But let's see. All right. Yeah. Down to our increments, guys. It's the only reason I'm not really commentating here. We should be okay. Pawns are on the right color for the most part.
Check.
And trading pieces, we should be out of any like sort of serious
Time
danger.
is running out.
But he did a good job trading the c4 pawn to liberate his bishop, and he's creating a maximum trouble for me, basically. Too many pawns on dark squares for white. Now I don't want to take... I want to get my knight to like d6 here. Force him to take on d5. Basically.
Check.
Very strong passed pawn. And that should be winning. Hate my life. We did the same thing we did last game. We went with knight.
Check.
Good knight versus bad bishop. Just it was a different color this time. Yeah,
Victory.
You got build. Another player build in the dragon. It's always knight versus bad bishop. Not as common this one though. Finally, we got some challenges. Ron Depp and Nash Equilibrium. What's up, guys? Chess Quack, full of innuendo, Spinal Tap, yeah. Slow and simple wins the race. Okay, guys, Ron Depp and Nash Equilibrium. Let's play Nash first. Ron Depp's like 2169.
Ready.
Another strong player. I think I need a 5-minute breather. I play like 3 strong players in a row. not to say that 1800 isn't strong, but I had a master, then another like strong bullet player, and now I'm gonna play 1782. Fianchetto, it's hedgehog or Tarash. Bishop e7, you should play b6 there, mostly. And this leads back to kind of like a passive, sort of passive version of the hedgehog. Instead of rook b8, maybe a6. Pascal Charbonneau played knight takes d4 against me in a tournament once. I think that he had a hard time, but he equalized. But generally speaking, this kind of setup with bishop on e7 is not really great for black. And here we have some serious positional weaknesses on d5. Now, I mean, aside from the fact that I won the exchange, I'm just going to simply take and keep it simple. I was playing 2 simul's yesterday, guys. And it's been a long time since I played simul's, but I realized that, you know, the #1 way to beat weaker players is with strategy, you know, strategic concepts. Not so much tactics. Most people are pretty strong tactically, especially nowadays with computers. It's not that hard to become quite strong tactically. So if you really want to win on a regular basis, the key is like strategic chess. Now e4c, I mean, this guy is very aware of tactical ideas. Positionally, he needs work on his game. And that's why time is so important. If you're playing practical, like rapid chess or something, I was losing because I was like using too much time. It seems like everybody's good tactically nowadays. But positionally is another thing. I mean, it takes time to learn to be a strong positional player. You need real training for that. This guy now has some counterplay. There looks like some weaknesses around my king side, and I have to be careful here. So it may be necessary for me to sack material back to break black's attacking chances here. Looks like f3, g4. I'm not sure I played this optimally, to say the least. Knight f3 check looks dangerous. And my queen is out in outer Mongolia in this position. Not really a good thing. See, rook takes d6 is interesting. Knight f3. Nash equilibrium. It's a poker player. Maybe. I mean, it's a statistical concept, but used so often in poker. We think about it like mostly in poker terms. If h3, knight f3 check looks really strong. How do I get my queen back in the game here? Rook takes d6. There's knight f3 check. Yeah, maybe h3. Queen b4, getting my queen back in the game. This is going to be really close. I'm trying to get my queen back to defend the king side. I really underestimated, with the 4 pawns around my king, this guy would have such serious kingside threats, but it looks really dangerous. Maybe I can bring my queen to f1. If I could just sacrifice a rook for the bishop on e6, I'd be winning easily. I wanted to play rook takes d6 with the idea of giving it up for the bishop on e6. But I also saw things about playing rook d6 I didn't like his queen after knight f3 check has threats on the back rank. Coldania, welcome to the stream. Nice to have you here. Everybody, really feisty counterplay from Nash Equilibrium. He's either a statistician or a poker player. I don't know which one. Maybe both. But the plan is knight f3 check, bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, queenie 1. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. I have to play knight f3 check, king h1, and then like h4 at some point. Knight d3, I think, is not good. It's not the best for black. Knight f3 check was really, really strong for black there. Knight f3 check with the idea of queen h6. I don't know. I mean, it looks like... I guess I could play king f1 or something like that. Give up the h2 pawn and walk my king around the other way. My guess is that there's some defense for white, some computer, kind of like perfect computer defense. It's a little hard to believe I'm lost, but I mean, it could be. It wouldn't surprise me completely. Now this move, and you can take off the pawn on e4.
Check.
Knight f3 check now. It's a little different now. I have king g2. Knight g5, so Nash Equilibrium, man, you really gave me a scary fight here.
Check.
You're still not done yet. Still playing fast. Okay. We have increments. So the increments ensure that we won't lose on time.
Victory.
Really scary game, Nash Equilibrium. But the opening wasn't good. Okay, it's Rondep now. Rondep, I don't think I've ever played Rondep. Nope. Rondep from Switzerland. But Master Strength in Blitz looks like... Bullet, sorry. Blitz 2169. So, quite a solid player. Good luck. I'm just guessing that Rondep's in the stream. D4... I was talking to my student, my friend. Got any good Jan Elves stories? No, Jan and I aren't really close. I was more friendly with, like, Wojtkiewicz, his big buddy, but... Jan's kind of cold. He's a funny person. I don't know him that well, but he was well liked by a lot of the others, but he never was real warm with me. He was okay. I mean, he talked to me, but kind of very businesslike and not that outgoing, with me at least. But he was very good friends with other people that especially Wojtkiewicz, who was a different story. I really like Wojtkiewicz a lot. And he was kind of a grumpy man, but he was funny too. And very, 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 very strong player. Elvis stories. No, but his other friend, Lembit Ol, you know, I have an Elvis sort of spin-off story. Elvis and Lembit Ol were both from Estonia, and both were like top players from Estonia. You guys know that Ol like committed suicide supposedly, right? This was back in like the mid to late 90s. I guess around 96, 97. I'm not sure exactly when it was. So my Lembit Ol story was this is when Ole was really strong. I mean, he won the New York Open. He might have tied. They might have tied together once, Elvis and Ole. But Ole was amazing. I played Ole in the Chicago, like, U.S. Masters or something, and he had just won the New York Open, or maybe 2 years before. But he's intimidating. He was intimidating. He was a very, very strong player, but I don't know really how to explain it. I mean, I've played a lot of people, and I don't know, you know, I'm not scared of somebody who's like got a million tattoos and he's like 300 kilos or something, you know, whatever. But there's something about Ole that was like scary, you know, like not physically scary, but I just can't really put my finger on it, you know. It was very weird. Like, I sat down at the board and I was pretty like into chess at that time. I was pretty well prepared. I was white. We were playing on the stage area at the Chicago U.S. Masters, and obviously Ole was a big favorite, but I've been playing pretty well, and I thought I had a chance against him. And I was prepared in the openings pretty well. He played the Nimzo against me. I was white in a Nimzo, and I was playing a Rubinstein system with knight e2 or something like that, and I was even like prepared with really up-to-date theory, and I played some kind of Ivan Sokolov line that was very weird, that was in the informant, which was retreating my knight back to g1 in this really abstract way. Like, it was book, but it was topical and kind of sharp and weird, but anyway, so the whole point of the story was, it's a very tense game right out of the opening. It was just theoretical, and I didn't know it as well as him. But I made some kind of insane blunder, like right on move 12 or move 14, where Ole just skewered my skewered an exchange on the A1 E1 diagonal. Just like, you'd have to see the game. It was really bizarre, but anyway, it was something about his physical presence. This is what I'm trying to get to. Ole had this like really weird energy. Like, I'm not a crunchy BO like believer in like energy and like nature and power and stuff like that, but there was seriously something going on with that guy. It was very strange. Like, I felt this aura about him. It was weird. It was very intimidating to sit across the board from him, and I felt I couldn't really concentrate. It was like you just felt this kind of mental energy coming from him, and he just kind of made me like hang the exchange and lose in 15 moves with some kind of psychic powers, and I just didn't understand what just happened. And then my friend Alexander Ivanov, I was feeling really horrible that I lost in 15 moves, and I couldn't explain it no matter what I said. And I was hoping for someone to say like, hey, it's okay, everybody like has a weird game or does something strange. And Alexander Ivanov, who isn't really known for being like sensitive particularly, came up to me. He was like, yes, everyone in the room saw bishop a5 except for you. This is what he said. It was thanks, man. That really makes me feel a lot better, you know. Everyone in the room saw it except for me. This is what the guy says to me after I lost in 15 moves. But, you know, I just chalk it off. Dude, 2 months later, Lembetal jumped off of a building and died. There's a lot of like, that's the kind of the end of the story. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracy talk about it, you know, that it's like, was he pushed or did he jump, or who really knows who was really there? Like, Wojciech is dead now, so he didn't really talk about it either. But I'm just saying, like, there was something weird about Lembit Ole, like this mental energy thing that you could feel this energy coming from him, and this tense kind of energy. Though he was like calm on the surface, I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't even play, and you know, maybe that's how he won the New York Open. I don't know, but it was very hard. He had an incredible board presence. I mean, It wasn't like I was playing like Kasparov or something. You know, he was like 2650. I had played other strong players like around the same rating. I wasn't like terrified, you know, to play. They were human. But against Lambidola, I just couldn't concentrate. And then, so then he like kills himself or is killed. I don't really know. You know, 2 months later, right after that, it happened like literally a few months after he beat me in that game. But, you know, who knows? There was something just really... Maybe Jan knows. I never really talked to Jan, so... Spinal Tap, you made me think about it. But it's an awkward thing to ask someone, you know. Do you know about, like, you know, Lambidola, like, jumping off a building? What do you know about that? You know, how do you bring that up in conversation? I mean, unless you're really, really comfortable with someone. You know, is it related to his, like, insane mental energy, the fact that he jumped off a building? It's possible. It really is. He was an exceptional kind of... He felt like a very exceptional kind of person. And I'd like to get that, you know, somehow out of Elvest, because he's the only one left. I mean, it was like... Wojciech and Elvest were very close, but I think Ol was not as close as they were to each other. So, anyway, Sparklehorse is gonna just, you know, try not to let the mental energy of the opponents interfere with our concentration. Nobody else I ever played in literally hundreds, thousands of games that I feel that. And, you know, like Walter Brown was just difficult to play because he was like nervous at the board, you know, but it's not the same thing. I mean, this nervous energy
victory
isn't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like some kind of weird, indefinable mental power or something. Just makes you blunder in 15 moves. Like you can't even concentrate. You're like terrified of the other player. In a way that I can't even explain. It was very bizarre. It was very surreal. Anyway, guys. So, Chess Quack read about it, but who knows? Yeah, I don't think I want to. I don't want to ask him that. Caldas says, "It sounds weird, but I'm much stronger when I'm not playing myself. So if it was me, I wouldn't take it too hard. Everyone else in the room saw it." Yeah, I mean, it was the typical Alexander Ivanov, like, embellishing, you know? I mean, just because he saw it. Yeah, exactly. Well, when you're not looking at the board, yeah, I mean, you look at it with a different perspective. It was a very weird opening. It was
new challenge.
It was a Nimzo Indian where, like, Ol played, like, Queen, Bishop B4, Bishop A5, Bishop D8, okay? So it's a Rubinstein Nimzo Indian where his bishop after, like, 14 moves was, or 12 moves or 14 moves, his Nimzo Indian bishop was on D8, you know. So the whole thing revolved around me like allowing like a skewer on like the A5 E1 diagonal. It's not like every day you play like a Nimzo Indian where there's a bishop on D8, you know. So it was a really strange position. That's my excuse. I don't know. I think it was the weird mental energy though. That's the closest thing I have to an Elvest story. Trying to think about anything else. Elvis plays poker too. I don't know how good he is, but he plays for fun. But he's probably good. I mean, he's anywhere near as good as he is at chess. Let's see. But I like Elvis a lot. I like his style chessically. I mean, he's such a good player all around. Anyway, guys, we have like 15 minutes left in the stream. Got re-challenges from a couple of players. Mikloping, welcome to the stream. Yeah, it was something about that from the beginning. I mean, but this like uber seriousness I saw in Lambidola, I mean, and this calmness, and I don't know, man. He had a board presence like I never saw anybody before. Really insane. So we'll play these guys again. Shaw Nash Equilibrium rematches.
Ready.
I don't really do a lot of rematches. I like to give everyone a chance, but if this is the only thing we've got, this is the only thing we've got. Let's try a Caro-Kann against Nash Equilibrium. He plays the knight f3 exchange on d5. Kind of a weird way to get into the in the pano. So he plays like inaccurately here with bishop d3. I would imagine that I should probably play knight b4 here. This is from a theoretical aspect. Yeah, to get his bishop off the active diagonal. Let's see, bishop g4, c3, knight c6. I could even take on f3 actually there. I kind of like that. Whoops, sorry folks. So I was thinking of taking here and just playing with knights in this closed structure. The Nash Equilibrium, very, very practical player, it looks like. So we've got a minority attack. We've got a position where his bishops are a little hard to use. Not impossible, but I'd like it to be even more blocked, honestly. Kind of a weird opening. We've got a better structure than white. And g3 now. Probably the wrong plan. I would think bishop b2 back to d3 would be the best. Kind of point the bishop at my king side. If you're playing g3, bishop g2, I think you're on the wrong path here. I mean, to get in like f5, you know, bishop g2, f4, f5 would be pretty hard. Pretty hard to achieve, I think, on a practical level. So it's like, you know what this is, guys? It's a Tartakover. Now he did it. He took my advice, but it's a Tartakover Queen's Gambit here. And they got the minority breakthrough. So should white think about b4 there? The classic, like, stuff up the queen side, like Tartakover Queen's Gambit plan? Interesting. His pieces maybe aren't on the best squares for b4 in that position. He'd prefer to have like knight e1, knight e3. So maybe with the bishop on e2, he could have thought about playing b4. The idea of playing knight e1, knight e3, and knight c5, clogging the whole queen side. Basically, Nash Equilibrium is a blitz player. Practical blitz player. Spinal Tap chess. What are you guys talking about? Oh, you made your... What? Imagine Spinal Tap drooling. What are you guys talking about? Try to like keep drooling out of it. Bishop takes c3 is pretty ugly. What can I do though? Pretty ugly. What can I do? Hard to break it down. But white's not really in a position to do a whole lot to me, so we have time to improve our position. How am I going to break this? How am I going to break this position down here? What about my other knight? You know, can I bring my other knight to b5 or something like that? Knight e8. He has kind of kingside threats. I think I'd rather do this a different way. All right. We're going to have to move fast. We're getting a little low on time. Knight b4 trading pieces looks okay. Not my favorite move, but I'm trying to be practical. It's blitz. We're down to a minute, and I'm at least equal here. I guess I'm a little better. He can do like queen b3, but it doesn't do anything. It's a good move other than the fact that it doesn't do anything. Yeah. So maybe it even helps me to reach like a simplified position where the minor pieces are favorable to me. This is what we're really hoping for when we traded our bishop in the opening, basically. So here we've got to watch the... watch out. I almost did it to myself. But g6 is okay. It was my plan, then I had this weird second thought. But I saw rook a6 and I started to freak out, but it doesn't do anything. So I just play queen b7. Okay, guys, like 10 minutes and yeah, I see that. 10 minutes left in the stream. We've got time for 2 more games, maybe 1 or 2 more games, depending on it. Tomorrow we're here every day, by the way, not just tomorrow, not just today, but every day, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 12:30 Central European Time, late night time, Spinal Trap time, Vampire time, Chess Vampire. All right, guys, we're going end game. We are going end game. This is the classic minority attack type of position.
Check.
We got increment. How are we gonna make progress here? He hung a piece. Yeah, it's pre-moving. Pre-moving will do it every time. Nash Equilibrium is not... I don't think he's used to the increment. Actually, I played him 3-2 Nash Equilibrium. I don't mind now, but I would prefer to play generally 5-minute for the sake of the stream.
Victory.
We got to about a minute and I couldn't really commentate very deeply. Sean Shaw 5-3. That's perfect time control.
Ready. For
the stream. So guys, check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training, on YouTube. The link is under the stream here on Twitch. You check out the Twitch page, my Twitch page. I would appreciate it. Knight f3, d5. I've talked about this. c4, d4 looks to me like it just is flat out good for black. I'm done like trying to play knight f3, d5, c4, d4 positions with white. I'm not going to pretend that white, has a good position after that anymore. Like a lot of even strong players are pretending there. I'm going to just accept the fact that we have to play like d4 on move 2, or be like Kramnik and play g3. But no longer am I going to do c4 there. Okay, this is our patented anti-Slav gambit. Speaking of Wojtkiewicz, Mr. Spinal Tap Chess, Queen c2 was his favorite move against the Slav, but he played the classical setup without sacrificing a pawn. He would take on c4 and fianchetto. He loved every setup where white fianchettos the bishop. Catalan master extraordinaire. If you guys want to learn how to play the Catalan, you can check out some Wojtkiewicz games in a chess database near you. With black, he was a little bit more suspect, but very creative. Do you have training video on playing poker? No, I just have one in my YouTube, and not creating serious poker content. I mean, it's not. I'm not eliminating the possibility from the future, but at this time, working primarily on chess. e6 and e4. Bishop b4 is interesting, but that's your good bishop, Sean Shaw. You just have to remember that. So you kind of need that piece in most instances. You're probably gonna need some kind of tactical justification for this somewhere down the line. Let's just play bishop e2. I have my reasons for playing bishop e2. Bishop d3 is playable too. I mean, bishop d3 is more aggressive. After castles, I can play e5. But I don't really mind if black leaves his king in the center. And bishop e2 has some advantages. I mean, I can put like a rook on d1 and it'll influence the center without the bishop being in the way on d3. The jury's kind of out on this. That's the one thing that bothers me a little bit, the sensitivity of my e4 pawn. But you're still a long way from realizing c5, I think. And I have pretty strong plans here, positional plans, based on like e5, knight e4, and bishop a3 or bishop d2. This is what we're planning basically. You give up the d5 square. You can have that, and then I'm kind of hoping that this bishop on b4, you know, ends up being like a lost tempo for black, basically, in this kind of position. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted my bishop on e2. I don't want to be threatening to go to b4 later on and hitting my queen and bishop with tempo on d3 and c2. So you know, I could lose the tempo I gain back if I have to play bishop d3 or defend against knight b4. Maybe it's not necessary because I have like I could do like bishop e7, bishop d2 with white and just hack off the knight with the bishop or something. One of them is blocked. What are you guys talking about? Do you have training videos, poker? Yup. Why is the bishop better than the other? Why is one bishop better than the other? Oh, you mean general strategic concept? Why is one bishop better than the other? Good bishop, bad bishop? Because the bishop has free mobility, like they said in the stream. There are a lot of pawns on white squares in black's position. f7, e6, c6, b5. And his dark squared bishop is not only more mobile than the white squared bishop, but it's also like an important defender of the dark squares in his position. So now, Shansha, if I do bishop g5, you're going to have to play f6. What's up with that? That might not be so bad for you, actually. So I'm going to play like simply bishop d2 here. Positional ideas of controlling the dark squares. If I trade this guy off, we'll enhance our control over the dark squares. This is pretty unusual position. I don't think I've ever had anybody set this up before, like bishop e4, queen e7. Never recall having the chance to play bishop g5 in a position like this. I have played like literally dozens and dozens of games in this particular line. Now he does f5 anyway, which is quite interesting. We could sack a pawn. We have such strong positional compensation. And bishop takes b4, knight takes b4 is a problem. Bishop takes b4, knight takes b4 is on my queen, and then he's winning a piece. So we're probably going to have to take on f6 here. I shouldn't say have to take on f6. I could have gone like knight g3 or something. But it's not really a great square. It's one of those recurring themes in our lectures here, in our live stream. We've said it a million times. We'll say it again. The knight on knight 3 is, generally speaking, not a good thing. It's not a good thing. So Shansha, though, playing KG chess here, I think, in this game, and making us, like, asking us the question, do we have enough compensation for a sacrificed pawn? Kind of. That's the question. He's staying active. He has some squares, some ideas. But on the other hand, his king's a little bit iffy. And I'm going to play prophylactically here with rook e1. There are a lot of ideas along the e-file. His e6 pawn is weak. And I want to be able to deal with knight f4. With bishop f1, tuck it back there, defend my king side. Maybe play g3, bishop g2, or bishop h3 later on. So rook e1 is positional move. Shansha has to decide what to do with his king, which isn't easy here. His queen is kind of out on a limb. But I think that the chances are basically about equal here. I'm not really sure. What is the tempo thing he's talking about? Not sure which position I was talking about. A tempo. Oh, tempo. Tempo is like a move, like an element of time, a unit of time. That's what we talk about when we say tempo. In chess, there's like a material unit of time, one move of time, basically. That's what I mean. So he castled. I think that's the right decision. I like that. And it's a little bit passive to play bishop f1, but it clears the e-file. It avoids knight f4, as I said, and we could have rook lifts, like, you know, along the e-line. The rook could go offense, could go offensively forward here at some point. So, well, I don't really know what I want to do with this position now. I'm not sure I have quite enough compensation objectively. But queen e7 looked like a very sensible move for black. g3, this is kind of something we were talking about a minute ago. I'm looking at e6. Also stopping knight f4. So, looks like we have pretty strong threats strategically. Knight c3 is even interesting. Well, knight c3 would let him kind of loose. Maybe that's a mistake. Let's not do knight c3. That would be kind of questionable positionally. Maybe I'm rushing a little bit. Knight c3 allows c5 and seems to give black counterplay. I'm going to develop a piece. But I need to be a little bit quick here. Maybe I should have played like something more aggressive there right away. Could play, I don't know. I want to keep c5 under control. And let's see, knight h4 is interesting. Moving away from the center though. Now knight d2. Here, knight d2. Speaking of moving away from the center, I'm not crazy about this. Yeah. I don't think this move really makes any progress. I need to, maybe knight h4 was the best there actually, knight h4. With the idea of knight f5 in some lines. Also queen d2 with the idea of queen h6 sometimes. So I'm going to go back and see if I can reset the position. Queen e2 seems flexible. It's looking both ways, like at a5 and h6. And I think it's good to control the dark squares. And now knight h4 could set me up for losing a piece. That's always good. I walk right into that. So where does my king belong here? Looks like f1. Sidestepping any kind of threats along the g file. Now knight h4. So knight c5 is interesting. We've got some time issues, it looks like. He's guarding h6.
Time is running out.
Shansha, you played really, really tough here, man. Scaring me. Maybe rook takes. b4 or something. Looks like he has good compensation. I wouldn't mind trading like bishop for knight around here in the right circumstances. I'm gonna offer a draw.
It's a draw.
It looks about balanced. Lost a couple rating points there. That's okay. Good game, dude. I think it's a fair result. So I have compensation for the pawn, but I'm not really sure that I have more than that. So the flags are hanging. We're going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks for the stream today. Thanks for Sean Shaw for interesting game. We'll get to anybody I didn't play tomorrow. Please stop by. And check out my YouTube channel. I told you before, video chess training on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. If we get a lot of subscribers on YouTube, I can start to make a lot of videos, and that's good for everybody. Don't forget to follow me here on Lee Chess and on Twitch. And have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining me, and we'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central European Time. Good game, Sean Shaw. Thank everybody, and we love you all. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.